Good afternoon, dear class 10 students. Dear students, already we have started civics portion, and in yesterday's video class, I have explained to you some of the important points of second chapter, that is qualification of the president, indirect election of the president, impeachment system, and also we had discussed about the executive power of president. In executive power of president basically deals with the appointments of the high officials of the country. Now let us talk about the legislative power today in this video. First, addresses session of the parliament. So the president addresses both houses of the parliament assembled together for the first session after each general election to Lok Sabha and at the commencement means beginning of the first session of the year. That means the president addresses both the houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, or the parliament in the first day of the session after the Lok Sabha election, or we can say the beginning of the first day of the session of the year. So in this particular first day session, president basically emphasizes on the internal and external policies of the government. The president has the power to address either house of the parliament or the joint sitting at any time. So in this first session of the day, president basically emphasizes or focuses on the internal and external policies, where president introduces these all external and internal policies to the government, the new government which has formed in the center. Now let us deal with the number 2, message to parliament. He has the power to send messages to either house of the parliament, either in the regard to any pending bill or to any other matters. So as I would call legislative power, president also sends the message to the parliament members regarding any pending bill or any other matters. Number 3, summons and proroges the houses. The president has the power to summon means calls the meeting, and proroges means he postpones the house of the meeting, or we call the meeting of the parliament. The power to summon parliament is subject to the condition that there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between 2 sessions of each house. So usually the parliament session takes place in a year 3 times, and this particular session is supposed to be, we call, have the gap of 6 months. So normally there are 3 sessions of parliament: budget session February May, the monsoon session June July September, and the winter session which happens in the month of November and December. But mainly the 2 sessions are important. They are the budget session as well as the we call monsoon session. But if you are asked about the sessions of the parliament, then you have to mention all the 3 particular sessions. Now number 4, dissolve the Lok Sabha. So president has the power to end the meeting of the Lok Sabha and to cancel the meeting of the Lok Sabha. He can dissolve the Lok Sabha and order fresh election. So he can end the Lok Sabha meeting and he can order for the fresh election. Rajya Sabha is a permanent body, not subject to dissolution. So Rajya Sabha is the only house of the parliament which is permanent, which meeting cannot be dissolved or cannot be, we call, end. Number 5, nomination of members. The president nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha from among persons having special knowledge or practical experiences in these matters. So, president has the power to elect or appoint 12 members who are having their special knowledge on certain fields or on certain areas like literature, science, art, and social service. And the president also nominates two members from the Anglo-Indian Committee for the Lok Sabha. So this is, we could see the appointment part of the president or the nomination part of the president as a legislative power. Number 6, assent to bill. Assent means approval to the bills. No bill can become a law without the assent, without the approval of the approval and the signature of the president. So unless president gives approval to any particular bill, or unless he gives any signature to a particular bill, that particular bill cannot become a law or a act. Once a bill is passed by both the houses, it is sent to president for his approval. The president may give his assent or withhold the bill or send it back to the house concerned with recommendation. That means once the bill has gone to the president from the parliament members or the parliament, then he goes through with that particular bill, he reads out, he checks it out, and then if he finds any, we'd call the corrections should be done in that particular bill, then he send it back to the parliament for the reconsideration. And if he doesn't find anything to be corrected, then he directly gives the approval and gives signature to that particular bill. However, if the bill is passed again in the same form, he has to give his assent to the bill. But in the second time, after president sent that particular bill to the parliament, and even in the second time the bill has been sent to the president without any correction from the parliament, then in the second time president has to give no any question mark, he has to directly sign on that particular bill. Usually the houses examine the recommendation of the president. So whichever bills are passed in the parliament, those bill has to be approved by the president. That is the procedure of the bills to become the act or the law of the country. Now number 7, promulgate ordinance. Promulgate means he proclaims ordinance, announces ordinances. Ordinances mean actually they are the laws which remain for the short period. So these are not the, we call the constitution laws, but these are the short period laws which are announced by the president in certain cases. Under the article 123, the president can promulgate, make announce an ordinance which has the same status as an act of parliament. The president may withdraw the ordinance at any time. The power to promulgate an ordinance is subject to the following conditions. So ordinance is passed, okay, this short period law is passed on the following conditions. First A, the president must be satisfied that circumstances makes it necessary for him to take immediate action. So first of all, president has to see the condition whether that particular ordinance has to be really passed in the nation. So first of all, he looks after the situation and condition, and then only he promulgates or makes announcement of the ordinance in the country. An ordinance can be promulgated at a time when both houses of the parliament are not in session, and the ordinance are announced during the time of what we call the emergency, when the country is in danger or country is having any serious problem, maybe external problem or maybe the internal problem. So in that case, the ordinances are passed by the president, and at that time, when there is an emergency in the country, both the house of the parliament, they are not in the session, they are not in in the work, they are not at the work, they don't go for any, we call the meeting and discussion in the parliament. However, if one house is in session, there is no bar is using of ordinance. So if in the parliament one house is still in the session, or the session is carried on by one house, then ordinance cannot be announced in the country. The ordinance so promulgated should be laid before both the House of the Parliament, and whichever law and order as an ordinance President is supposed to be called announce in the country, that particular ordinance, before he makes the announcement in the country, that particular ordinance supposed to go to the Parliament houses. If the Parliament does not approve the ordinance, it lapses, and if the Parliament members do not approve the ordinance, then it becomes inoperative. It doesn't functions. If an ordinance is not disapproved, it will automatically cease to operate at the end of 6 weeks from the date of Parliament reassembles. So, this is the procedure we call. Ordinance will be operating if it has not got any disapproval for the Parliament members. So that is the process. Number D, the ordinance lapses if it is replaced by an act of Parliament. So ordinance, law and order in the country lapse or get finished when the situation is, we call, in a better condition, and the Parliament members, they are now, we call, can come for the meeting and so on. So in this case, the ordinance get over, and then Parliament members, they take the, we call, the responsibility of making laws and orders. Now let us talk another point, that is, we have the discretionary power. And discretionary power, actually it is a power which president decide single-handedly. That means to implement these powers, president has to not depend on anybody, neither it has to depend on parliament members nor the state legislative assembly members. So he issues these powers on his own choice, on his own freedom. So discretionary power, let us see, the president of India enjoys certain discretionary power. There are certain gray areas where president may have to use his wisdom and judgment. So in discretionary power, president himself is the, we call, the decision maker. He doesn't, we call, consult with the, we call, prime minister or the parliament members. Such as, first point, appointment of the prime minister in a situation where no single party commands the clear support of the majority of the Lok Sabha members and there is a hung parliament. That means president appoints the prime minister from any political party, okay, when he finds there is no political party has the, we call, has got the proper majority to form the government. So once again, president has the power to appoint or elect the prime minister from any political party in the case when he doesn't find any political party getting the proper majority in the Lok Sabha election. This is because the president cannot appoint the new prime minister or advise of the outgoing prime minister who may have lost the election or the support of the house. And president cannot, we call, the ask the suggestions from the prime minister who is at present still working before the election of the new prime minister. So in this case, he neither would call request or get advice from the prime minister who is still working. So in this case, he choose a new prime minister from the any political party when no party gets majority in the Lok Sabha election. That is the point. Now, number 2, appointment of the prime minister in case of sudden death of an incumbent, for example, by assassination, as in the case of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. So, also the president has the power to appoint the prime minister from any political party or from the same political party when a particular present prime minister is no more, or he may be dead, or he may be killed. For example, we have the Mrs. Indira Gandhi, who was killed by his own bodyguards some years before, and in her place, his son Rajiv Gandhi was appointed as the new prime minister of the country. Number 3, when the ruling party who has lost majority support in the Lok Sabha, or when a vote of non-confidence may have been passed against it. So, the ruling party who has lost majority, okay, to run the government, the ruling party has to maintain the majority. But if one member of the particular ruling party, okay, loses the confidence, or due to one member's, we call the due to the one member of the ruling party, the whole governing body collapse. So in that case, we could say that recommends the president to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Then it is at the discretion of president. It either dissolve the house or ask another party to prohibit majority on the floor of the house. So in that case, if a ruling party loses the majority because of the non-confidence, then president asks another political party to prove the majority and to form the government. So the another party will be given the chance by the president to get the majority to form the government, and then after that particular political party get the majority, it forms the government in the center. Now let us talk about number 4, the president can dismiss ministers in case of council ministers loses the confidence of the house but refuses to resign. Okay, so president can dismiss ministers in case of council minister loses the confidence. So confidence means there are many, we call the situations where the ruling party is studied or checked. So this is what the president can dismiss the ruling party members from the power when they lose the confidence in the house. Now, emergency. An emergency is a sudden or unforeseen situation demanding immediate action. So emergency could be we call sudden action taken by the president, and especially during the emergency, we could see when country is in danger or country in problem, at the time the emergency is implemented in the country. So it is a situation in which the head of state assumes extraordinary. Head of state means the president assumes extraordinary power. So in this emergency case, president has the full power to declare emergencies in the country. So let us see. The president can proclaim a state of emergency in the following case. First, national or general emergency. There is a danger of foreign aggression, foreign attack, let us say, when our country is maybe in danger due to the foreign attack, and due to the foreign attack we could see the peace and security of the country is in critical situation. So in this case the president announces the general emergency in the country. Now number 2, breakdown of the constitutional machinery. The constitutional machinery in a state has broken down, or there is a deadlock because of the political uncertainties or otherwise. Article 356. So constitutional breakdown means it actually applies to the states, different states. So in the states, let us see, the ruling party collapsed, or ruling party in the state lost the confidence or lost the majority, let us say. Then in that case we could see, to run or to administrate the state at that particular situation, there is no, we call the government. So in this case the president handles the administration system of the particular state, and this particular power has been provided in Article 356. Now number C, financial emergency. A setback to the financial stability or credit feasibility of the country is likely to occur or has occurred. So when there is, in a nation, country is facing the financial problem. So when a country is facing a setback of financial, we call the conditions, then in that case also president can proclaim the financial emergency of the country. So dear students, today you understand up to this point, and in the next class we will deal to national or general emergency, and then we will little bit talk about the circumstances, durations and so on. So for today let us study up to this particular point. So here I wind up this particular class. Thank you.